Hey guys, it's Rebel Queen. Okay, first off, sorry about the lack of videos. There just really weren't any games or, well, let me rephrase that. There just really weren't any games, movies, or cartoons to do a review or anything with. Though, now that I kind of think about it, I could have done like a classic movie or anime or cartoon review on, which, now that I think about that, maybe I'll spice things up and you might get a couple videos with some classic reviews in that genre here in a few days, depending on how things go. But two things before I get into the purpose of this video. For the video that I did in regards to the movie review for the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, because it's Demon Slayer in the US, Kimetsu no Yaiba in Japan, or it can be either or. Thank you guys for watching, because honestly, that movie review pretty much blew up in terms of how many people have watched it, so thank you guys. Honestly, last time I checked its viewer count, I was honestly surprised. I'm honestly surprised with how, with the view count on that sucker. So thank you guys. Even if you're not a subscriber to the channel and you were just checking it out because you wanted to go, oh, let me check the YouTube movie reviews for this before I actually go and watch it or something. Thank you. And the second thing, a while back I did a movie review for this movie called Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarves. It's it's a movie that is a different take on the Snow White fairy tale. And in it, and it's like a South Korean studio or something that did the movie, but it is an English speaking movie. Yeah, it's one of those deals. But because of that, I said in the review that I didn't know like if or when we would see it like released here in the US or something, or like if there would be DVD release for it, because I got lucky and I got lucky and found a YouTube thing for it. Though, like I said in the review, it had subtitles, and I did not I played around with the captioning, could not get rid of those subtitles, and they were foreign language subtitles. So, but like a few weeks back in like one of our local Walmarts, I found a DVD copy of the movie, and for around $10, that's not too bad a price. So I snatched it up. I'm not going to go into detail about the movie since I already did that review for it. So if you want to so if you're just now seeing this and went, oh, you can go check out the review. It's in our fallback of videos. Feel free, and if you've already watched the review, now you know where to go to find a DVD thing. Or I actually did see it on Amazon here not too long ago, but it was one of their pay to watch deals. So just so you guys know. Now for the now to get into the main meat of this video. For as some of you may already know, and for those of you who don't, the sequel game to Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, is actually getting a port to Switch finally. that's going to come out in sometime in September. For those of you who are aware, it is not a direct sequel to Wrath of the White Witch. So it's, like I said, it's not a direct sequel, so we won't be seeing like Oliver and all the other characters. Now, so, in, I know I'm kind of stumbling here. So because of that, so this is why I'm kind of talking about this, is kind of reviewing Wrath of the White Witch. Now you might be asking, like, since Wrath of the White Witch has been on the Switch for so long, why am I just now reviewing it? Well, I may have had the game for a while, but because of circumstances and such, I'm just now getting around to playing it. So I figured, like, oh, since we got this news with the sequel game finally coming to getting its own Switch port, what better time to get to it? Especially since I have a little bit of free time. Finally. But so far I'm enjoying the game. It is really good. The animation is divine, because apparently the Bandico, because the game is by Bandico and Level 5. They partnered up with Studio Ghibli for the animation. So it's like you feel like you're playing in a Studio Ghibli movie. The only thing missing is the fact that the main protagonist is a male character instead of a female. I don't know if I don't know if, like, Studio Ghibli had anything to do with the story or anything. Though, a lot of times it does feel that way, especially considering, like, when you're playing the game, you hear that music in the background, and it's like, oh my god, the music also kind of, like, feels like that, draws you into, because it's like, again, makes you feel like you're in a Studio Ghibli movie, because it's like, especially like when it's like one of the, like, fantasy movies, like Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, like those movies, because it's like that dun 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 dun, that orchestra stuff that is just like heavily dun 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 dun. I know I'm not explaining it well. I'm not doing the whole music right. But and the whole creatures that you see and the whole monsters stuff, it's like you're kind of reminded a little bit of, like, from, like, especially like with Spirited Away, when you're seeing, like, all the different little spirits that come to Yubaba's bathhouse, when you're battling all the different monsters. Honestly, I'm kind of going, oh my god. As I'm going through this, I'm thinking honestly, with some of them, I'm thinking these could have been like some of the little creatures that could have been in Yubaba's bathhouse. But honestly, the game is good, and the battle mechanics, classic JRPG stuff. Though honestly, what first drew me to this game, even before I knew it was Studio Ghibli that did it, was honestly because the artwork looks so much like Studio Ghibli. And because when I first picked up the game, because I had been peripherally aware of Ni no Kuni beforehand, when it was just like on the PlayStation system. But because, as you guys know, not enough money to get like a PlayStation system at the time, I just like, meh. But when Wrath of the White Witch made its Switch port, and I was checking it out, I'm like, okay, this this looks interesting, and I'm like, I'm checking out, and I'm looking at the box art, and I'm like saying like, oh my god, this freaking looks like this artwork looks like it can be from like Studio Ghibli. But even then, from what you guys have seen on the channel and on the streams, you kind of guys can see from a lot of the games I play, I tend to go for like a lot of the fantasy and magical stuff a lot of times, aside from when I do end up going for like a lot of the more heavy hittier stuff, like when we were playing through Bayonetta and stuff, or the fighting games. So like basically like the whole JRPG stuff, because a lot of the JRPGs do tend to be more fantasy based, aside from a few of them. But like I said, but yeah, so it's like I was playing through this, and I'm like seeing all this, I'm like, oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm like I said, it's like it honestly feels like I'm playing through a Studio Ghibli movie, because the game actually has two options for you in terms of setting when you first started out. In easy mode, that is, it basically just tells you like, oh, you're focused more on the story, so the monsters are easier to beat, and the whole thing is like easier to beat, etc. And then a normal mode, which basically just normal playthrough. I went normal. but yeah, I think easy mode would have basically been like you're playing through a giant movie. Which basically, like, with a lot of the cutscenes that you go through, you have the cutscenes where it's like, oh, you're just reading through. They have the prompt. They have like it's the classic 3D animation, and and you have the little character bubbles where it's going da 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 da. But then they have the cutscenes where it is an actual like 2D animation, and I'm like, oh my god. It's like, yeah, this is like almost a Ghibli. You're like, I know I keep on going back on this, like, but it's like, yeah, you're playing through a Ghibli movie. And I'm sorry, but I got exposed to Miyazaki Sensei's work with either Kiki's Delivery Service or Princess Mononoke as one of the first two that introduced me to his work in Studio Ghibli. So after those two, once I learned more about and once I fully got delved into anime and realized he had such a big filmography, and I was able to watch all the other films of his and see his whole deal, I just pretty much fell in love with his work. With good reason, because he is a master storyteller. And honestly, hopefully once this whole pandemic situation is over, and if I ever have the money, I would love to go to Japan, and if the Ghibli amusement park that they hopefully have up and running, I don't know if it's actually fully developed yet. I know Mario Land is up and running. But if they have the Ghibli park up and running, I want to visit it. Because they're supposed to be making a Ghibli park. And I want to visit it. But I also want to visit the little bakery that is supposed to be part of the Studio Ghibli stuff that has the little Totoro cream puffs. And see like what other little Studio Ghibli themed items they have. So sorry about that, because honestly, I know I'm kind of going on a little rant here, but it's like, but it is part of the stuff. Oh, and also in Ni no Kuni, I kind of know I get on Albion a bit when he goes on his OCD stuff in games for like, oh, he has to complete all this. Oh, he has to complete all this and get like these ultimate weapons and stuff, and stuff. But I kind of have to give him a little bit of a break now, because in Ni no Kuni, you have these things called errands and bounty hunts. Uh, I'm kind of completing all of those and stuff, but it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because while completing those, it gives me a chance to grind my characters up and get them leveled up, so I have an easier time when taking down the bosses and stuff. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. So like I said, I can't really get on Albion too much on the OCD. I can't really get on him too much more with the OCD stuff when I'm doing this in Ni no Kuni. But and like I said, the sequel game Ni no Kuni 2, which is finally getting a port to Switch in September, it's not going to be entirely the same thing like we're seeing in Wrath of the White Witch. They're going to be similar thing. A lot of the stuff is going to be similar, like the whole, oh, the characters are going to have like soulmates in the parallel world, like, oh, if the soulmate of the one person gets killed in the other world, then that person will die situation, as far as I'm aware of. But like other things get changed, because it's like as far as I know, like the world system like is still the same, like Ding Dong Dell and all those stuff is still the same, but they change up different things, like the familiar system gets completely reworked, but they put in something else it's similar but different. So for those of us who loved Wrath of the White Witch, but because we didn't have PlayStations and couldn't play the second game, we're finally going to be able to play the second game since it's coming out in September. And in regards to my own playing of it, I'm currently in Hamlin Town, so I'm about halfway or a little under halfway through the game. Depending on how fast my progress continues, it may be a few more days before I complete it. It just kind of depends on how things go, and like kind of what all situations in real life kind of keep up. Oh, and just to kind of give you guys a heads up, I will be doing in July. I will sometime in July, maybe August, I will give you guys a review for Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, because I pre-ordered the game. Unfortunately, by the time I was able to pre-order the special Joy-Con controllers for the game, were sold out. Maybe by the time the game comes out, they'll be back in so I can get some. But so I pre-ordered that, so I'll be getting it when it comes out, but it'll probably be a day or two before I can get to play it, because just kind of letting you guys know ahead of time, we already have the dates for Pokemon Go Fest this year, and it is July 17th and 18th. So we'll be busy those 2 days doing Go Fest. And unlike with Paper Mario, like I promised you guys last year, I will not be doing pretty much a overhaul of Skyward Sword, because we all know the Zelda games, sometimes those dungeons and everything else takes forever to get through. And if you're not careful, you can miss something vital. So no. I'll probably get through like maybe the first dungeon or so, then I'll do a review for you guys. But keep in mind, I never played the original Skyward Sword when it first came out on the Wii, so I'm going into this blind. Aside from that, everything else, but for Ni no Kuni, like I said, the game is enjoyable. If you haven't played it yet, I would highly recommend it, especially if you want to jump in for the sequel game coming out in September. Since I've kind of been going on in this video saying I'm a Studio Ghibli fan, without seeming biased, I'd say 8.5, 9, because depending on how you are with some of your tactics in the game, you might get frustrated. Other than that, I hope you guys continue to stay safe. I know some of you might still be kind of chafing about the mask stuff. I know some places are starting to go, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you can stop wearing it, but please be careful about that stuff, because you may be fully vaccinated and can't get it, but remember, others aren't. Other people may not be fully vaccinated, and even then, remember, just because you may be vaccinated and stuff, until everybody is fully vaccinated, there is still that chance that something could go wrong, and we have to deal with more issues, because it's only recently that the one vaccine got approved to start being issued to kids 12 to 15. So we're getting there, people, but we have to still kind of be playing this waiting game on certain things. So anyway, stay safe, and Albion might be doing a few streams here and there. He's still studying that book of his. Again, bye.